Hello. Hello. I'm on the floor. I'm low down on the floor. I brought the camera back down. It was on the table the other day, but I thought we'd have a change because we're going to be working on our sides today. So I thought it might be better for you to see me from the side. See me from the side, turning over, coming back again, doing all sorts of things. But we are going to be on our back for a little while. Hopefully some of you will join me. The light's not very good, is it? Is it because I've got it behind me, in front of me? I don't know. Hello, whoever's come on. Let me just slide that across just so you can comment if you want to. Ooh, the light's really bad, isn't it? I do apologise. You don't need to really see me while I'm doing. You need to see me over there really, not over here. So it doesn't matter. You just listen to me talking away, rambling away. I've got some weird quiff going on today. I really don't know what's going on. Anyway, you didn't come here to look at my hair or listen to me rambling away. So hello Tina, hi my love. So we're going to kind of do what I didn't do the other day. Hi Linda. We're going to do what I didn't do the other day, but we're going to do side lying, lengthening the waist, lengthening around the midline, lengthening along the side of the body to get rid of this trauma reflex, which I'm demonstrating to you a really bad habit that gives you a trauma reflex, just sitting squashed into your waist. So if that's something you do, I do this on the sofa, so it's no wonder I've got a tilted pelvis and a tight waist. So if that's what you do, then this is the perfect thing, the antidote for all of that. So bearing all that in mind, you've got a squashed waist or a tilted pelvis, maybe you limp a little bit, maybe you've got a sore neck on one side, maybe you get pain around your shoulder blade on one side, pain in one arm, tingling on one arm, sciatica, any of these things. These are the things that the trauma reflex in somatic movement triggers. Having tight muscles more on one side than the other side. So that's what we're working on today. So I'm going to show you the moves we're going to be doing today, and hopefully I'll keep to it this time and we won't miss out 5 moves that we did on Thursday. So we'll start with we're going to get through our arch and curls quite quickly. We spent a lot of time doing a diagonal arch and curl on Tuesday, so we won't do that today. It's really good for you, but we've done that now, and you can watch that video and you can do that in your own time. You could combine these 2 videos. So we're going to do arch and curl. We're just going to go into the flower, then we're going to do some side leg stuff, and then we're going to do some side arm stuff, and then we're going to come onto our sides and do our side lying stuff. So our side lying stuff is where we get ourselves into a really good position. This is one of the ones where you really have to get yourself into the position that you need to be in. We're going to lie on our sides when we're into the class, and we're going to have our legs at 90 degrees to our torso. We'll have our legs 90 degrees to our thighs, and we are going to rest everything down into a pillow. So you can have your pillow. I'm just using my arm while I talk to you, and then you would make sure everything's lined up, and then you would make sure that you haven't squashed down into your front like this. You make sure you're long, so you lengthen your waist. Make sure you've got a long side here. Make sure you haven't tilted forward. Make sure you haven't tilted back. Make sure that your knees are lined up on top of each other. Make sure your hips lined up on top of each other. Hi Sue. I'm just talking through our moves, our side lying moves. We're going to be doing later, and then the point of this is to shorten into your waist. So we're aiming to get right on the waistline here and not into the abdominal muscles or the lower back. So what we do is we just very gently, hi Sue, we just lift our foot up, and I'm just going to keep my arm high up into the air. So you can watch that circle in between my arm here get shorter. Watch how my hand moves up, squash the circle a bit, and that's what's happening. My waist, my hip is moving up towards my ear. Yeah, so that's what's happening. I'm trying really hard not to let my foot come back to my bottom, because it's tempted to on this side because the muscles aren't as good as on the other side. So I'm just going to make sure my shoulder hasn't rounded too far back. So I'm just noticing when I do this whether I can feel it in my bottom or my back. And where I want to feel it is here. So you'll put your hands on your side. So what I want to do is, what you can do with this one is you could watch me while you're doing this. If your camera or whatever you've got for this is in front of you, and you could be watching me do this, so that's fine. And then, but I just want to make sure you're set up with it and know the position you're getting into straight away. Okay. And then the other one we're going to do that we didn't do the other day is our lovely twist, where we open and we look up to the ceiling and we roll our arm in. Yeah, so we build up to that. So this is lying in the same position you were in for the last move. Hi, Angie. And then looking up towards the ceiling if you can. If you can't rotate that far back, you might be here, but you're still looking up towards the ceiling. And then, as long as your neck's okay, hand under the head, rolling the arm in. Yeah, that's quite tight through my arm, so hopefully by the time we start doing this, that will be nice and loose. So you'll be looking for those sorts of things. So there are two main moves today, side lying, and then we'll come back to the wash rag. So we're going to do wash rag legs today and wash rag arms. And that's what we're going to do to build up to that. And then we'll do our side lying. So wash rag arms, I'm going to do it sitting up. We do it lying down. Is arms out to the sides. There's not, can't get me all in, can we? Arms out to the sides. Watch this hand. The hand I look towards rotates backwards. And the hand I'm not looking at is going to rotate forwards. So it's going to come forward. So this is our wash rag arms. This spiralling in the arms. So you look to the hand that's going back each time. So we're doing that on the floor. We're going to build into that. We're going to do it slowly because that's going to lengthen into our sides as well. And then we're going to do our wash rag legs, which is this movement. Yeah, and we're going to build into that very slowly, watching around our bottoms. And remember, all this is lying on the floor, obviously. But not obviously if you're new to this. So yeah, so we've got a couple of minutes. Just thinking of anything else we might be doing. We'll do our flower, which is our arms rolling into the side of the body as we open and close our knees as we're lying on our backs, and our usual arch and curl with the tilt of the pelvis. And as usual, I'll talk you through all that. Yeah, okay, so we'll just wait and see if anybody else wants to come on. If you've got any questions, ask me any questions. If you want to say anything, oh, my child's sending me texts, that's good, isn't it? Anything else about anything else? I hope you're all okay, surviving everything that's going on still. Hopefully we'll be out of this soon, maybe. I'm not faring too unwell. That's really bad sentence structure. Hi Jane Ellis. I'm faring well, shall we say. I've got a garden, I've got a dog to take for a walk, I've got a corner shop that has a few bits in daily. Got a co-op within walking distance, which seems to be quite empty when I go there. So yes, in the grand scheme of things, I'm doing not too badly. The hay fever with me manifests in a really odd way, Sue. It's very bizarre, and I get it every year, and every year I forget. So this time of the year, I always get a headache. I feel lethargic. I get fatigued, apathy. I just feel generally shitty. Never quite sure why. I think, what's wrong with me? And then by the end of the day, I suddenly go, oh, it's hay fever, isn't it? The leaves are coming out on the trees, and it's every single year. So yeah, that was what was going on for me yesterday, feeling really a bit iffy. Hi, Carrie-Ann. Hi, Tim. Hi, Jane Ellis. Hello, gorgeous. Lovely to see you. So yes, we're going to start in a minute. We're going to do the moves, side-lying moves. If you've come on here for the first time, then you may want to just watch what's going on for a little while, and then maybe do this later, or do it tomorrow, whenever. It'll be on Facebook, and I also put it on YouTube. So if you know anybody that doesn't do Facebook and you think might get some benefit from lengthening muscles, retraining muscles to lengthen that they thought were never going to lengthen again, then that would be great. And you might not know that. They might not know that that's an issue, and it is an issue with all of us. So showing them something like this might be just what's needed to get them moving again properly. So it's really calming. It's going to calm your nervous system down as well, which we all need. And it's giving you that time to just work on lengthening waist muscles, get rid of limps, get rid of sore shoulders, and problems that are associated with sciatica and tight chest muscles that cause problems down your arms, especially if you're a computer person. Right, so let's get started. So make sure you've got a mat and a pillow. If you're lying on your side and you have hip problems, then put a pillow between your legs to start with when we get onto the side lying moves. Hi Janice. Right, okay, so let's crack on. So lying down, We're going to do our scan. I'm hoping you can hear me from this distance. Most people say they can when I'm putting the camera in bizarre places. As much as you can. This is your first time. You won't be particularly joining in. You might just be watching this for the first time. If not, then try not to watch and rather just listen to my voice and just follow the instructions in an auditory way rather than a visual. And that's the whole thing. You're staying inside your body. It's somatic movement. It's slow, it's pain-free because you're not pushing into any pain, you're not pushing your pain levels up because you won't go into a move that pushes your pain level up. You do it in a very small, slow way. So we'll scan. Let's scan up the sides of our bodies. So taking in the inside leg, the outside leg, just do a gentle body scan, slowly up each leg. Comparing each side, noticing the differences. Might be that your leg rolls out on one side, might be that you've got more pain in one calf than the other. Might be one knee is closer to the floor. Might have pain in one knee, not the other knee. Might be tighter on the inner thigh. Just scanning up. Make sure you take in your lower back and your pelvis, across your abdomen. In the waist, watch what's happening when you breathe in and out around the waist. Look at your rib cage, watch how it moves in, moves out, how it expands sideways, forward, back, what's going on. Have a look at both arms. You can do both at the same time if you're able to, or you just look at one at a time. When you're up into the chest and the neck, just compare sides again. Come up into the neck and the ears and on the head as well. Around the top of the head. Face muscles. So we're scanning for pain levels, we're scanning for tightness, sensations, different sensations around the body. We're trying to get inside our bodies to make sure that we are giving a visual to our mind. So our mind's really connecting to our body. And we're also slowing our nervous system down doing this. The sympathetic nervous system, not firing up, not in fight or flight. Gently bringing your knees up. Feet on the floor, feet hip width apart, bend the knees. Make sure your feet are in line, maybe bring them together, touch feet and then come back out again. And then just breathing. So I'm adjusting my shoulders, make sure I've got a long back, a long neck. Bend your elbows if you need to, or flatten your chest a little bit, soften your back. In through the nose, out through the mouth, slow it all down. Slow the out breath. Once you've got that process happening, slow out breath. And start noticing the body movement, where the ribs move, where the breath's going. Are you high up in the chest? Are you in the shoulders, the back? Are you low down into your abdomen? What moves when you breathe? If you're not low down into the abdomen, then with every breath, go a little bit further down the body. Take your focus away from the upper chest and travel down the back. Notice when you get down into the waist, the expansion. Into the lower back and out to the sides. We want to feel differences in this area by the end of this class. Once you're breathing down into your abdomen, into your waist, you're getting the breath down and feeling it around the pelvis, or even just your focus is down in that area. Even if you've got a little bit of movement around the rib cage down towards the belly button, then you could start thinking about tilting the pelvis forward at the front and then arching the back gently. Very tiny. Investigate first of all Might be that you can make this a bigger move quite quickly. It might be that you have to stay here for a little while investigating. It might translate up into your neck, and you might have to just be careful of your neck or your shoulders doing this move. So just get a feel for it, check it out, what's going on. Just arching, tilting the pelvis forward. If you had a bowl of water on your tummy, the water will be spilling forward down to your toes. With this move, that's the direction of this tilt. It's not the other way. And then coming back to neutral. So we want to control this. We don't want any bouncing. We don't want any pain. I've got a little bit of pain on my right side, so I'm just going to watch that. And like on what happened on Tuesday after I'd done 4 classes last week, so 4 hours of doing this, which I wouldn't normally do, my arch and curls were much quicker to build up. Once I got through the initial kind of letting go of the muscles, then the arch becomes much bigger. So I have to just be initially reminding the brain about that. Maybe because I've been sitting a lot writing, so you've got to think these things through, what started patterns off. And then very gently thinking about bringing the shoulders in. See if you can press the shoulders back into the floor gently. Your arms will be by your side. Somewhere they might be a little bit closer to the body than mine are. Mine are kind of out about 45 degrees, but that's where they've just ended up. Squeezing the shoulder blades back gently. Breathing in as you do this. Expanding in the abdomen every time, might be a little bit more each time, letting go so the back muscles can shorten. Pressing the shoulders back into the floor. Do it slowly, slow it down, see what happens, see if there are any areas that bounce. Once you've brought the shoulders in as well, you need to concentrate on 2 areas. It's quite a lot for your inner brain to look at, inner eye to look at. And then when you're getting a feel for that, so we're going to go quite quickly into the arch and curl. Then you can start gently bringing the pelvis towards the belly button on the out breath. So let the pelvis follow the breath out of the body. Stomach muscles are shortening. Not pushing into my feet, I'm just using my lower abdominal muscles. Notice how far you can tighten up to. Can you tighten up to the rib cage? Is that too far? Does your bottom lift off the floor? If it does, and you're really squeezing into your abdominal muscles, are they bouncing to let go? If they are, you've gone way too far. Might be that your lower back complains when you try to tilt the pelvis towards your belly button on the out breath. So check in with all these things. You shouldn't be feeling any pain other than what might be there in the first place, but it should be easing off anyway if you're doing this small enough. Some of you might already want to start rolling the arms in and out towards the body. That's fine. Some of you might have already moved straight onto the flower because you've been doing these classes for years. That's absolutely fine. The flower just involves the knees as well, but the rest of you just carry on with thinking about the possibility of your arms joining in. That just means you squeeze them into a tightness in the chest, and then you let them unfurl again as you take the shoulders back down to the floor. When I talk about the shoulders, I'm talking about the shoulder blades rather than the upper part of the shoulders that connect to the neck. So we're pressing down into the floor like our pelvis is pushing down into the floor on the in-breath. You might start opening the hands out. You might start rolling the whole arm in towards the body. If your chest muscles can cope with this. I'm going to start bringing my knees in. My chest muscles are all right. If they're not all right, I wouldn't start focusing on the knees. Soften your neck. If your shoulders are coming forward, and they might be when you start curling more, because your shoulders are more likely to come forward and down, then make sure your neck is soft, that your neck is moving, you're letting it soften and lengthen, and your jaw is soft. Still focusing on not pressing into the feet, but using the abdominal muscles. Don't want to press into the feet to tilt the pelvis, because then we're not really shortening the muscles. We're engaging leg muscles to do the work. We want to start involving our abdominal muscles. We want them to not be frightened of lengthening when we stand up, causing us groin pain or back pain. So your knees might be rolling open, your arms might be rolling open at the same time. Be mindful of your groin. It might not be the same on both sides, how the depth of it opening. Try not to open your legs until your pelvis is tilted forward. I'm very aware of my neck movement now because I've got quite a long arch and curl going on through the body. So have that awareness of your neck. It's like you're squeezing into quite a tight, shortened position at the front of the body when you breathe out. And as you breathe in, you're letting that all go gently, 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 breathing down into the abdomen like you were doing at the start, and then arching the back, pressing the shoulders. You might hold it a little bit, press a bit more if it feels all right. As long as you're not stretching. So stretching is where you're forcing something, and it might hurt, or it might feel strain, or it might feel like you want to ricochet back the other way. There should be no bouncing, ricocheting of any sort going on. This is about smooth control, slow, pain-free, lengthening, retraining, signals being taken up by the brain that everything's okay, so it will lengthen, it will go into a place that has not been before to investigate with those lengthening muscles, no reflexes happening to pull the muscles short again. So I'm going to do 3 or 4 more of these flower pandiculations. Don't use that word very often. Pandiculations is what this is. You're all pandiculating. So I'm going to do my last one, and then I'm going to lengthen my legs down, let go, soften into the floor, do nothing except breathe in a nice, slow, controlled way. So resting down, letting go, doing nothing. Soft, soft, soft. So I think what we're going to do, just because we're going to do some work into our neck later when we twist, is we're going to do a little bit of neck work. So keeping your legs long. We did this on one of the classes last week. All we're going to do is take our chin. So I'm going to turn to the left straight. Take my chin to the left shoulder. And then I'm going to take it across to the right by squeezing down into my chest with the chin. Very gently, minding your neck muscles at the back. And going over to the other side, and then lifting my chin up. So I'm just making a U shape with my chin very slowly. So I'm taking my chin down to my shoulder, across my chest. I've got a nice double chin. Taking it to the other shoulder and then looking up. So my head's still on the floor. I'm just looking up into the corner of the room. So my chin's lifting away from my shoulder. I'm taking it back down to my shoulder and then going across. So this might be very small for some of you if you've got neck issues, but your head's weighted into the floor, arms by your side, make sure they're not too stretched away. I'm just making a nice U cup shape with my chin to engage the neck muscles. Nice sweeping movement, very gentle. Might find that the side that you tighten into isn't happy. Might feel nice to lengthen out a bit, but the tightening in might be a problem, so do it gently. Might have to change the angle, not squeeze so tightly down into the chest because it hurts the back of your neck. Really have that awareness. I don't want you doing anything that hurts your necks. So if it is, you need to make it really small. If you can't do it in a small way and be pain-free, then don't do it. Maybe just bring your chin to chest, up and down on that middle line. I'm going to do 1 or 2 more. So we're doing this so that our brain is just focusing on our neck movement, because a lot of the time we do our neck movement and lots of other body movements at the same time, but I just want our brain to just focus on this part, all the neck muscles, rather than everything else, because we're going to bring those all in later. So I've stopped now. I'm just going to have a little rest. And then I'm going to tilt my chin back, so I'm going to engage the neck muscles at the back, if you can, in a small way or a big way, whichever way. And then I'm just going to take my head across to the left and take my ear down to my shoulder. So I've still got a nice long neck, and then I'm going to come up, take my chin up. So I've got a long front of the neck, shorten back of the neck, chin up rather than down to the chest, and then take my ear down to the right side. So now I'm making the opposite movement, so I'm making a U but upside down. Doing it in a very small way. Very slowly, very controlled. If you want to use the breath, you breathe in as you take the chin to the middle, breathe out as you breathe the ear to the shoulder. I'm going to do 2 more each way. And then when you've done your last couple, we're just going to bring the chin back to the centre, wherever your centre is. Lengthen the neck muscles a little bit so we're equal. Just move the head a little bit to be comfortable, and then let go. Couple of breaths doing nothing as ever. And then we're going to bring our knees up again. So sliding the knees out to the side. Legs to standing, feet hip width apart. Just adjust your upper back and then take your feet wide as the mat. So once they're there, we're just going to think about our bottom. Think about our outside of our leg down to our knees, down to our calves. Inside thigh, inside calf, and we're going to very gently, that's our focus area, so we're not going to turn our mind's eye to our waist yet, or we're just going to focus around the sides of this movement, how our pelvis comes back to this position, and we're going to do that very slowly and carefully. So breathe in, take your knees to the left, both of them are just going down to the left. Feel how that feels, see how far your pelvis goes, how far it will tilt without a problem happening, and then come back up gently. So don't worry too much about the breath to start with, and then go in the opposite direction. So let your foot come onto the side if it needs to, and just focus on how your hips feel, how it feels to do this movement along the side of the legs and into the bottom and the pelvis, and then come back to the centre. So your focus is your legs to start with and the pelvis, not the back or the waist or the sides. Just a pain-free movement, so it might be small. If you're watching me, my legs are going quite far because of all the stuff that I did this week and last week. So mine are happily going to the side, so they're almost touching down to the floor. My right hip's a little bit unhappy for me lying on it, so as I go over to the right, it's not very happy, but it's quite happy to let go, which is great. Because usually I have a bit of a problem with this. Once you've started feeling how that feels, how it feels into the bottom, into the groin, into the inner thighs, side of the calves, then start thinking about breathing down into your abdomen. So every time you take your legs to the side, breathe in. Notice how that affects your groin, how it affects your middle of your body, expansion, the arch in your back, and then start making your torso a bit more of a focus in this, how it twists, how it lets go across the abdomen, how the lower back feels. Some of you might need to take your shoulders a bit wider, your arms a bit wider to anchor yourselves once you're really getting into the waist movement. Notice how it translates up to the shoulders. If you need to, turn your head in the opposite direction to your knees. Just to anchor your shoulders so you don't get tipped over too far. And to feel that twist and that lengthening. Breathe it out as you come back to the centre. Try not to swing side to side. Try and come back to the centre first and stay there before you go to the other side. We need to get a real good feel for this, and the more you do that, the more your mind's eye is going to stay in that area. If you keep focusing on the fact that you're coming back to the centre, you're not just swinging, it won't just become a pendulum move. If you feel your pelvis settling back into the floor, that's nice and relaxed and soft, which is what we want. We want to tighten, shorten, and then we want to lengthen, and then we want to soften. And that means trying to relax as much as possible any of the muscles that you've switched on. So we're just doing side to side wash rag legs, which we'll bring back in at the end if we've got time. In my timekeeping skills. So you're breathing into your waist, into your abdomen, watching how your knees go side to side. If there's any bouncing or jumping, ratchety feelings, you feel like you're out of control, there's pain, then you need to make this a lot smaller. Maybe slow it down. We want to feel this around the torso. We want to feel like it's kind of really sensing into it and letting go, even in a small way. I'm going to do 2 more each way. And when you've done your last round, then you'll lengthen your legs down, let go, soften. Do nothing. As usual, 2 breaths at least, doing nothing. Try not to fall asleep. You can't with my fog all voice. But you might do if you were doing this on your own at home. Bring the feet up gently. Feet hip width apart. Soften your shoulders. And then just take your arms away from the body by about 20%. And then I just want you to roll one arm to the right and one arm to the left. So you're just doing the opposite movement on the opposite shoulder. Come back to the centre. So one hand's turning over, one's turning down. And just doing this very slowly, feeling your chest muscles. So your arms are only a little bit away from the body. This is the wash rag, but we're starting it in a different position. So we're going to do this at different angles so we get different muscle fibres. Your shoulder blade's doing it at different levels, so you're getting different attachments into the arms, the back. Just rolling the arms side to side, like we just did with the legs. One's going one way, one's going the other way. And then in increments, we're going to just go a little bit higher each time. So the arms move out by about 10% each time. Not each time, after maybe 5 or 6. Just investigate how it feels and then try again. So you're rolling the whole arm. Keep everything soft. If you need to, if it becomes a bigger movement, you can move your head as well. I would, in the first instant, just turn it in the way of the hand that's opening. So it stays in line with the breastbone, it's not so strong. So maybe 5 or 6 times at the angle that you're getting to, and then go a bit higher. So maybe take it up to 40 degrees. 40 degrees out both sides. So don't let the arms follow each other. One's not getting closer and one's not getting further away. They're both getting further away from the body. Rotating over, feel the chest muscles open and close. You might get to a point where your shoulder says, no, I don't want to go any higher. I'm happy at this point. So you might stay there. You might take one arm further out than the other if you've got a side of the chest that releases and is happy. Some of you might have frozen shoulders or might have problems in the arms or the neck. So I want you to have that awareness. So I'm about 50 degrees now, maybe a bit higher. We're going to work our way up to 90 degrees. Not yet though. I want you to investigate each point along the way. So don't just keep sliding up each time. You want to let your brain get that information in the place that you've taken it to. Might need to stay there, might not be ready to go on if it's hurting you, too tight, not bouncing. And your aim eventually is to get up to about 90 degrees, not past there, please. Turning your head to the hand that's opening up. When I say opening up, it's pointing back, the thumb's going back. So my arms are up to about 90 degrees now. Some of you might still be back at 20. That's fine. You might have said, no, I've gone too high at 30. I'm going back to 20. Some of you might have got to sort of 45 and gone, oh, this is enough. I need to focus here on my chest. So I've gone up to 90 and now I can feel a pulling down my arm. So I might drop my right arm down a little bit, leave my left arm where it is. See if that makes any difference to the angle in the nerves in my arm. The ball thrown for the dog, I think, is affecting my right arm. We're going to do 3 or 4 more rounds, wherever you've got to. And then when you've done your last round, rest your arms, take them back a bit further closer to the body, bring the legs down gently and let go. So gently bringing the knees up, and then we're going to turn onto whichever side you're facing the camera or whatever your phone. If you were looking at me, you want to look at me. Like, you all just want to look at me, don't you? If you want to see what I'm doing. I did talk this through earlier. Most of you know how to do this. So coming onto your side. So we'll just set it up again. You either have a pillow under your head if you can't have your arm bent. And you stack your shoulders on top of each other, stack your hips on top of each other, stack your knees on top of each other, and your knees are out 90 degrees to the body. So your thighs are 90 degrees to your torso, your calves are 90 degrees to your thighs. You might need to look at that a little bit. This is the only time I'm going to let you lift your heads up. You shouldn't be swinging your heads about. And then making sure that you're not tilted too far forward, you're not tilted too far back, you're actually on the side of your bodies. And then make sure you're not in the fetal position, you haven't squeezed into your abdominal muscles, you're not overarching. Some of you might need to arch your back a little bit to feel that you're not in the fetal position, you haven't squashed into your abdominal muscles, and then let go of your back. So resting your arm on your side, we're just going to very gently breathe in, breathe out and lift your foot up. Very slowly, very small way. Investigate how your bottom feels. And then we're going to bring it down again. Slow, 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 slow. So all you're doing is bringing your top foot up, calf off of the lower calf at the angle that it's set at. So try not to let the foot come back towards the bottom. And all that's happening is your waist muscles are shortening. Really. That's all that's happening. Some of you might not feel that. If you can't feel it, put your hand on your waist. Breathe in, feel that hand lift up, your pelvis move away, and then breathe out and lift the foot to help your waist muscles contract. And feel them squeeze up. If you can feel too much of your back moving, tilt back a little bit. If you can feel it too much in the abdomen, then lean forward a little bit. And you're just going to try and find that fine balance. So this is really slowly. I've only done 3. And that's as much as you should be doing as well. Breathe in, breathe out, lift your foot up gently. Feel the waist muscles engage, and then gently bring that foot down. Breathe in, lengthen into the waist. Let that hip move away from you again. Rest the foot fully down. Let everything soften. This is slow, slower than we do it in class. Breathe in, breathe out. I can feel it more in my back, so I'm going to tilt back a little bit. My foot's trying to come back, so I'm going to bring it forward. Breathe in as you bring the foot down. All we're doing is lengthening and shortening these muscles from the pelvis to the rib cage. Breathe in, breathe out, lift the foot. Close your eyes and do it. Feel into it. Notice where everything's going on. You can move your hand around a bit, pinch it a little bit, see what's happening with the hand. That's all right. You can do this for a little while. Really, we want the brain to focus on the waist muscles, and it'll be focusing on what your hand's doing. That's all right. It's giving feedback. Some of you, this is going to be really difficult, so you need to adjust yourself, tilting forward, tilting back, till you find that point when nothing's hurting when you lift your foot, even if it's just a little bit. In your own time, I'm going to do 2 more. Some of you normally would be doing this at double speed to what I'm doing this, so I want you to really slow it down, feel into it. If you were doing this at home, this would be the speed you would be doing it, really slowly. Feeling how they lengthen, noticing your lower waist maybe, having awareness of your shoulder and that you're not hurting anything. When we do it in class, some people do it really fast. I have to go and slow them down a little bit. Breathe out as you bring the foot up. Down. Some of you might have a pillow between your legs, like I said at the start, because it might be too strong to have your hip lying like this. Some of you might not lie like this even in bed at night, so you might have a pillow between your legs, or you might lie on your back. So lying in this position for some of you might be too much in the first place. Always put a pillow in between your legs to start with. Let's make that the last one. Let's not do any more. Let's just rest. So we're going to bring the upper body in. We're going to put our hand on the arm on the side of the body. So your hand might be over your bottom. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to reach with our hand down to the bottom of the mat, not the foot, not reaching it to the foot. We're reaching it down the line of the side of our body, and we're going to lift the foot and then reach down at the same time. So our upper body is going to lift up a little bit. My hand's under my head, just guiding it up. And then coming back down again. Gently, gently, gently. Let the shoulder come back to where it started. Let the arm rest on your waist. This is all very slow, because we're very isolated to the muscles that are working. So we can take our time, like we do with the neck muscles. We want to give our brain all that information. I'm going to reach down, lift the foot, squeeze into the waist muscles. So squeeze into them. If you found them, if you know where they are, squeeze into them. And then let go gently. Have some awareness of your neck muscles, that you're not reaching too far and it's not hurting you. It's not hurting to release up in the rib cage when you bring the shoulder back. Breathe out as you go up. Leg comes up, reaching down the body. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Release gently. This is nothing like doing side lifts at the gym. This is doing slow movement, so your brain relearns how to use the muscles. Gets the messages, all the little signals that are firing up. Says, oh, that's all right. Oh, look, that muscle can lengthen over there without me feeling pain, feeling stretched. I'm going to do 2 more reaches. Breathing in, breathing out. This is how slowly I'm doing it. You don't need to watch me. You might be watching me. I just want to get these muscles really long, lengthened. Breathe in, breathe out before you go up. Get rid of the breath. There's room to squeeze into the waist. A little bit bouncing that time, so we're concentrating. When you've done the last one, rest on your side, don't do anything. And we're going to go to the other side. No, we're not. We're going to rest 2 breaths and then we'll go to the other side. When you go to the other side, swap over gently. Now I'm going to turn around so you can still hear my voice. So I will be sitting up. The fact that I'm rambling away and talking is not great for my nervous system. So yours are all nice and soft. Mine's just going to have to cope. Get that position again. Find it. Find where you're comfortable. Long side, long length. Make sure your lower waist long, your upper waist long. Arch your back if you need to. Know that you're not into a fetal position. Let go of the back. In your own time, when you're ready, breathing in, breathing out, and then lifting your foot. Feel the waist muscles. If you're not in your waist, tilt back. If you're not in your waist, tilt forward. Find where it is. Try not to tilt the shoulder too far back if you've got your hands on your waist. Slow it down as you release. Now I'm going to give you a little tip if you want to, some of you. We didn't do it on the other side just because we want to make sure we're getting it right. As you breathe in and breathe out, soften the waist muscles on the opposite side so they lengthen. So the lower waist, the waist that's on the floor. And as you come down, breathe in and arch the lower waist. So squeeze the lower waist muscles and you'll lengthen the upper waist. Make sure you do it gently, especially if that's your trauma side. And then rest down. So you'll have to let go of the lower waist and soften. Breathe in, breathe out. Lift the foot. Don't let it come back towards the bottom. You should be able to see it if you've got your eyes open. Remember, you can squeeze the lower waist and it will lengthen the upper waist. Don't have any back pain, lower back pain. Shouldn't have any pain in your shoulders, your arms. This is really slow, really controlled, finding the waist muscles, making sure you might adjust in the middle of it to make sure you're not tilted forward and abdominal muscles doing all the work. I'm aiming to do about 6. In the time some of you might be doing about 12. Squeeze, 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 as long as it doesn't hurt you. Lower down. So I'm going to do one more. And then I'm going to let go, rest on my side, do nothing. Rest your arm along your side. Lift the foot, reach down to the bottom of the mat like you did on the other side. I'm protecting my head with my hand. Squeezing up, letting go. You should feel it like an accordion tightening in between your armpit and your pelvis. Reaching down the mat to the bottom of the mat, not to your foot, because that's going to engage the abdominal muscles and we don't want to be doing that with this move. Bring your shoulder back to where it started, so you